Today I have a story to tell you, and I learned a lot from the events that occurred inside of this event. So to set the scene, it is the 8th of December 2023. It's around near the time of that date when I'm recording this video, but when it comes out, it will probably be around mid-January, but that's not relevant. So the college that I'm going to, they were hosting some sort of Christmas ball thing. It wasn't like a fancy thing. It wasn't like a proper dinnery kind of thing. I don't really know how to describe it in a way. There was music. It was a little bit disco-y. In some sense, there was food. I bought my suit outfit thing to my friend's house in the morning because it started after the school day at around 7, and then I went back there, got changed, and then came to the thing. Me and my friends were one of the first groups there, in a way. When we got there, the hall that the sort of thing was taking place in was basically empty, and through things like parental consent forms and that sort of stuff, they were allowed to give a certain amount of alcohol to the people that were participating in the event, because alcohol is like one of those things. It makes you drunk. It's something that makes you more lively. It gets into your brain, the ethanol, and it does things that mean that your sort of way that you act, your nervous impulses, aren't necessarily as civilized as like they would be when you're sober, for instance. But I decided I probably wasn't going to drink that time because it just didn't seem to be worth it. There wasn't really that much. I didn't exactly have any sort of pre-drinks or whatever you want to call it. So it would have been like such a minimal amount of alcohol that it wouldn't have really made much of a difference anyway. And there's no point in having that sort of impact on my health, which admittedly does occur from something such as alcohol, just to only like really feel sort of nothing in the sort of the liveliness change. So I thought I would make the most of this event. I was going to get back late anyway. Normally I go to bed quite early at around 9:30 to 10 o'clock, that sort of time frame. But because I knew I was going to be getting back at around 11ish, quarter past, I'm probably going to be going to sleep at quarter to midnight, which is admittedly very late for someone like me. I was like, I'm going to make the most of this. You had to pay money for this because there was food and there was the drinks and stuff like that. So I thought, I'm going to make the most of this. And if I'm not going to drink alcohol, while that seems like something that's quite hard to do, it's hard to admittedly be confident and lively and all in a situation like this where there are so many people that, admittedly, while the college that I go to, it's a sixth form, it's a pretty small sort of space, everyone knows each other, it's still going to be quite hard to have conversations and be sociable and stuff like that, because that's just how an introverted person like me acts for the majority of the time. But when I got there, me and my friends, as I say, we were really the only group of people there. There were a couple other people that I sort of knew. They weren't exactly close friends, but as I say, I knew a lot of people there and I got on well with them. They were good acquaintances. As soon as I sort of got into the hall where this was taking place, I just felt really lively for no particular reason. I just felt really lively and I felt like I was going to enjoy myself a lot. The floor of the hall that this sort of thing was taking place in was quite smooth, obviously it being cleaned probably quite vigorously before everyone arrived there after the college day had finished, and it was really easy to sort of slide and just move around on, and it was just really fun, especially when no one was there at first. That was just quite a fun thing to do, not gonna lie, and immediately from the off I was just having a lot of fun. And there was one point where we sat down and stuff, me and my friends were just talking, just having a conversation, and that was the point when everyone else started to arrive and like a lot of people started to actually fill up in this sort of hall thing. But even when I was sitting down, as I say, I just wanted to get up and just have lots of fun and enjoy myself, which is weird because someone who doesn't do self-improvement, they would think that someone like me who doesn't eat things like fast food, who doesn't play video games all the time, who doesn't like watch porn and all that sort of weird stuff, they think that I'm depriving myself of some kind of enjoyment, which to an extent is correct because I know that enjoyment is bad, and I know that the enjoyment that I'll get in the future from things that I do that are hard in the present is much greater than any temporary pleasure. I understand that sort of long-term thinking. I felt that I could actually enjoy myself in a sense that wasn't actually damaging to my health. I wasn't drinking, so I was having fun. I was being really lively, completely from the off. Like the second that I entered the hall, I just felt like I really wanted to actually have fun and enjoy myself. And for a lot of people, it takes the alcohol to get into their system, get into their brain, for them to actually be able to sort of actually also be able to enjoy themselves in that way, but have fun. But alcohol, it does have that effect on your brain, on your health, and I felt that that's not worth it. So I'm just going to go at it anyway and just not care what anyone else thinks of me if I'm being like not an idiot, but not being my usual self that I am when I present myself in a, not professional, but just in like a normal way that's not in the sense that I was here, because I just didn't really care too much about what other people were thinking. But yeah, essentially I was on it straight from the off. It was a really fun and enjoyable experience for the whole, I don't know how, I can't count off the top of my head, maybe 4 or 5 hours where I was there inside that hall. It was really fun. It was an enjoyable experience, and I was lively from the off. And well, for many people in general, not just in the sense of this one event, it takes people a bit of time and a bit of alcohol to gain that confidence up. I just felt really fun and enjoyable from the off, which is weird for someone who is an introvert like me. But the topic that I wanted to talk today, and I know the story has taken quite a long time, is alcohol. Why does alcohol exist? Because many people, obviously, it is that thing that's a confidence booster. But I came to this epiphany, like, during this sort of event, that I was having the time of my life, so much fun, but it wasn't exactly fun that was detrimenting my health in, like, a long-term sense. I was having fun, I was with friends, I was being sociable. Essentially, in terms of, like, big, massive impacts on health, the only one that I can say is the potential lack of sleep that I was going to get that night. But that's not, like, the most heinous crime compared to, like, a pretty large quantity of alcohol, for instance. But in terms of health, it's essentially just, like, spending some time with friends, whatever time of day it is. That was basically just what it felt like, and I had a blast, I had loads of fun, but often a lot of people in a general social situation, they need a bit of alcohol to sort of get their confidence up and stuff like that. And I felt the same. If I ever needed to, like, be confident at some kind of social gathering, alcohol is like it's the easy way out. It's the shortcut. You don't have to learn any social skills. You don't have to, like, read books or watch videos on how to be more confident and stuff like that. It's a shortcut. It's an easy pass. Like a lot of things, like a lot of instant gratification activities are to pleasure. Alcohol is an easy pass, an easy shortcut to things like confidence and not necessarily good social skills, because you aren't exactly able to think clearly and do all that stuff, but you just become more confident and maybe even charismatic as well. So that can also have a part to play as well. But for someone who is as introverted as I am, and I didn't need any alcohol to just be lively and have fun and like move around on the floor and stuff like that, it just gave me an epiphany, like, why does this substance actually exist? Because as much as that is often quite a good excuse for especially young people to use when they're going to parties and stuff like that, at times I've often felt like alcohol is much more commonly used as a way for people to forget their problems and the issues that they are currently having with life. That is not necessarily a bad thing, to take some time off and relax. But while I wasn't necessarily thinking about the worries and the troubles and the issues that I was having in my life, just on that specific day, the 8th of December 2023, while there are so many people in the world that are going to have problems, not all of them use alcohol to sort of help them relax and forget. Because while facing your problems head on is also a good thing, and I'm going to talk about that in a bit, relaxing and just taking a walk in nature, for instance, that is a very good way to almost face your problems head on, because you were able to think clearly instead of distracting yourself in a way from the things that alcohol does. And it makes you forget, it makes you have fun, and it gives you the confidence to just be a completely different person. But when you relax in a different kind of way, that relaxation is actually almost the thing that is facing your problems head on, because it gives you the time to think. You're not going to have to think clearly about how you're going to solve a problem when you're on a night out, but you are when you're sitting down in the woods and you're just observing the peace, and things are going to come to you, solutions are going to come to you. That's how that works. And I just thought that it didn't make sense to me that people would do that for confidence, especially when the amount of alcohol that was available at that specific event wasn't like even that much. It wasn't going to do much for confidence anyway, but it is enough to help you have fun, get you into the groove, and help you forget your problems. I was enjoying myself, and I wasn't thinking about my problems at that time either, which admittedly isn't necessarily the most optimal thing you could do to face your problems head on. But I knew that wasn't going to be my goal. I wasn't distracting myself. I wasn't procrastinating or anything, because I do all that stuff anyway. I relax and I face my problems head on in other situations, which isn't what a lot of other people do, admittedly. And I can understand that there are some problems in life that do sort of require that need to just forget about it and actually have some fun that you've never ever experienced before. But something just didn't make sense to me, because I felt like I was having so much fun. I was having an absolute blast. If I genuinely was having a massively big problem in my life, I feel like that wouldn't have affected me whatsoever on that particular night. And I can't exactly say for sure, this is only hypothetical, but I just feel like that it would have. And you don't need that massive detriment of your health that alcohol gives you to actually just have some fun and enjoyment. You don't need the vapes, you don't need the smoking, you don't need the overstimulating drugs to help you forget all your issues and your problems in life. Because admittedly, everyone faces issues and faces problems. It's just a daily occurrence. It's a part of life. There can't be good without bad. You can't feel happy without realizing that you overcame a challenge to get happy in that kind of sense. It just didn't make sense to me, and it really made me question why alcohol actually exists. There's, of course, the social aspect. Things like vaping, it's cool. Everyone's doing it, so let's do it as well. That's another aspect, but because I've never really been like the majority of other people, anyway, not in a sense that are like ego and stuff. I've mostly been below these people in a social I've mostly been below the people that would do the vaping and the alcohol and stuff in a social hierarchy sense. And not that I'm like holier than thou, so much far above them now, but I feel like because of the things that I do, the working out, the delayed gratification, like, yes, there definitely is progress in my life, regardless of what the other people are doing. I can't say that my life is definitely making progress. So I never really got into those kind of habits of, let's do that because it's cool. And while many other people in this sort of area of the social hierarchy did, many of the people at the top, they did that because they invented the trends, they thought it was cool, and it sort of just spreads like a disease from that point forward. Some people are spared. People like me, people like the friends that I choose and the friends that I choose to hang out with and stuff like that, they are also people that haven't exactly been affected by this disease of fear of missing out in a way. But of course, the social aspect of drinking's cool. Everyone's drinking. Let's do it. Everyone vapes. Let's also do it. There's also that aspect that you have to consider, which is almost completely irrelevant from any biological effects that these substances have on the body, like with the sense of forgetting problems, giving charismatic stuff and confidence, etc. That needs to be considered. But obviously, if you are watching generics, if you are watching this self-improvement content, chances are, I don't like using the phrase where like, oh, the people that are on self-improvement are just so much better than the people that are below them, because these are the people that we're trying to help to like actually improve themselves if they so wish to. But they are completely different groups of people. They have different personalities. It's different target audiences and stuff. So if you are watching this video, the chances are you are one of those people that's been sort of spared in a way and understands that. And hopefully I've given you some insight into just a few interesting things that happen in the world and go through people's minds when they do drink alcohol and stuff like that. But with that, I recommend subscribing because I like this community of young tribal people who are willing to improve themselves so much more than they already have. And good luck.